So today I'm going to tell you the story about Daedalus and Icarus, which is a story from Greek mythology that has a overall plot development that looks at hubris and extreme self-confidence. Um, Daedalus is a master craftsman with his son Icarus, and they live on the island nation of Crete, ruled by King Minos. Minos, being a king, couldn't really keep his pants up and had an affair with someone other than the queen, and the byproduct was truly treacherous. It was a minotaur, half man on his legs, and then the upper torso of a bull. And this was, many men tried to defeat it, and it was just killing a ton of people. So Minos tasked Daedalus with the task of building some sort of device that could imprison this minotaur forever. So Daedalus, being the genius that he is, sits there and scratches his chin for a little bit and thinks, I'm going to build a giant maze. So Daedalus builds this giant labyrinth that takes up about half of the entire island, so it's humongous. And they get the Minotaur in the middle of it. And things are going great because the Minotaur isn't getting out and people aren't dying. However, Daedalus doesn't really like Minos because of the way that he's ruling. That's kind of just not being cool. And Daedalus slips a ball of string to Minos' worst enemy, Theseus, who is trying to infiltrate this labyrinth and kill the Minotaur. And with this string, Theseus succeeds, and this Minotaur is killed. And when Minos eventually connects the dots and figures this out, he's not too happy. So what he does is, to get back at Daedalus, is he throws Daedalus and his son Icarus into this labyrinth that was originally for the Minotaur. So they just rot and die since they couldn't get out. However, Daedalus, being a smart, super sneaky craftsman like he is, thinks, well, let me figure out what I can do to get out of here. So eventually he starts rummaging. Each day he would explore a different section of the labyrinth and remember where he was, and then come back to where Icarus was. Eventually, after enough days had passed, Daedalus had gathered enough materials. He found feathers that birds had, or fell off birds when they were flying overhead. It took a huge amount of days. He found sticks that were naturally accumulating from wildlife or vegetation that had been growing in the labyrinth from the trees. And then he took wax from candles that they had. What he took with all of these is he made 2 sets of wings that could be put on their arms with the sticks and feathers. Before they flew, though, what he wanted to have happen, just to make sure that it was safe to fly, is have Icarus, since he was such a young, lightweight, small boy, would be less of a load for those wings to take. Daedalus said, now be careful. These wings are delicate, and if you fly too low to the ocean, the water can dampen the wings and you can fall in because they won't give you lift. However, don't fly too high because the heat from the sun will melt the wax and your feathers will simply fall off of the sticks. Icarus was listening, saying, okay, I just really want to fly. Okay, that's not going to be a problem. And then when his dad was done, he just zooms off, leaves the labyrinth. And Icarus is just overcome with joy. He's had dreams of flying when he was a kid. He's flying over the labyrinth. He can see the entire island of Crete and really can actually see how big this maze is and that it takes up almost half of the island. He's blown away by that. And eventually, when he's done just taking in the sights, and he starts doing a couple flips and barrel rolls, zooming through clouds. And eventually sees a couple birds in the sky and challenges himself, I'm going to go get those birds. So he just does a couple spirals, getting higher and higher, paying no attention to what his dad said earlier about flying too high, just because he wants to get to these birds. Eventually, after a few minutes, he gets to these birds and starts flying. But he was so close to the sun, the heat melted the wax, causing him to fall to his death into the water below. And because of this, we named the body of water that he fell into the Icarian Sea.